Live from Innovation Park on the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Tuesday, October 20th. Tonight, we'll tell you all you need to know about the reveal of THON 2021's theme, as well as the recent webinar hosted by President Eric Barron on how Penn State is handling the current pandemic.
We also have more on the upcoming presidential debate, as well as your sports, entertainment, and weather. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kailey Grill.
And I'm Madison Miller.
The theme for Penn State THON in 2021 will be Rise and Unify. The announcement came last Friday following a Twitter video post from THON's official account. The theme was chosen in relation to the tough times many have faced throughout 2020. In August, Penn State THON announced that it would hold its 46-hour dance marathon and other events in a virtual format due to the pandemic.
Online learning is still a concern to some students at Penn State. One student in particular started a petition to start the pass or fail option that was offered in the spring semester. J.D. Measures said that he was inspired to create the petition by the struggles that students have faced this semester through online learning. This pass or fail grading system he proposes mirrors the university's model from the spring semester. The petition reads, quote, "Online learning has proven time and time again to be increasingly more difficult for a majority of students and their learning styles. Please consider our plea for an equitable education," end quote. Measures started this petition about a month ago, and so far more than 415 people have signed it.
Last week kicked off Penn State's annual homecoming events. Multiple events were held throughout the week, including a virtual homecoming parade. PSN News field reporter Rachel Suga has the story.
Homecoming is looking a bit different this year, but the Penn State community has continued celebrating their century-long traditions. Despite the coronavirus, activities have still been held, socially distanced or virtually.
Meidler Field came back to life this past weekend after being abandoned last season due to the pandemic. Students gathered in the stands on Friday night and watched the virtual homecoming parade. Videos created by various organizations and clubs were shown on the big screen in place of the annual in-person parade. Homecoming 2020 Guide State Forward winners were Adeline Mishler and Diego Santos.
And now it's time to announce our Guide State Forward Award winners. Can I get a drum roll, please? Congratulations to Adeline Mishler and Diego Santos.
Other festivities on campus for homecoming weekend included tie-dyeing on Old Main Lawn and a virtual concert with Noah Cyrus. An alumni panel for this year's homecoming included Sue Paterno, Lisa Salters, and Paul and Martha Sharkey answering questions for Penn State students.
It's evident that the coronavirus has not stopped Penn State. I'm Rachel Suga, reporting for PSN News.
President Eric Barron and the director of the university's COVID-19 Operations Control Center, Kelly Wohlglast, hosted a live webinar to discuss how Penn State is handling the pandemic. Last Thursday's session is part of a series of live meetings hosted by Barron. It was confirmed there has not been a case in which a faculty member has contracted coronavirus from a student. Barron discussed non-instructional wellness days that are set to take place throughout the spring semester, as well as the cancellation of a week-long spring break.
Charges are still pending following the multi-car accident on Beaver Avenue last Wednesday. There's speculation that the driver who caused the crash was under the influence, according to the State College Police. The male driver lost control of the SUV and hit two other cars. The SUV then veered into the Kitchen Caboodle, a store on Beaver Ave. He was taken to the Mount Nittany Medical Center to undergo a blood test. There were no injuries in the accident.
Stay tuned because after the break, Tusha Pham will bring you the latest in entertainment.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Tisha Pham with your entertainment update. If you're familiar with rap, does the name Ice Cube ring a bell? I heard he's pretty chill, not to mention a civil rights activist too. Next Tuesday at 5:30 p.m., the Paul Robeson Cultural Center will host rapper Ice Cube for a virtual discussion titled A Contract with Black America. It will focus on how to have difficult conversations about racial justice and address the fight against systemic racism in the United States. According to PRCC's social media post, students will also have the opportunity to learn more about political work since Ice Cube recently decided to work alongside Trump's administration. The discussion will be hosted via Zoom by the center's director, Carlos Wiley. Registration for the event can be found on their Facebook account at psu.prcc. Throughout the month of October, Penn State has held multiple LGBTQ History Month events. PSN News field reporter Juliana Turdo had the chance to attend one of these events hosted by actor Ryan Jamal Swain, where he talked about his experience coming out and what LGBTQ History Month means to him.
October is not only LGBTQ History Month, but it's also Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. Rebecca Geiger, who's the assistant director of the Gender Equity Center, stated that, quote, "Unfortunately, one thing we know is that members of the LGBTQ community experience domestic violence at higher rates. Especially with COVID-19, we know many members of our Penn State community are facing such situations, especially situations where home is not an affirming place." End quote. Ryan discussed both of these subjects and provided a great insight on his own battles and how to reach out for help.
We talked a lot about current queer issues and how Pose has affected the community and how revolutionary the show is. We talked a lot about his history and his life, how he struggled with domestic violence, how he navigates through the world as a person of color and as an LGBTQ person, and intersections in that, and a lot of social issues and focusing on finding your chosen family.
How did Ryan's talk personally impact you?
So we met like a week and a half before the event, and then also logged onto the Zoom like 30 minutes before, and then talked like 10 minutes after it ended. And he is just such a kind, genuine person. It just gave me hope that like the people who are representing the queer community in media and like going on the red carpet are good, genuine people.
The Q&A session provided us with affirmations that being you is enough and that our differences are our superpowers. Ryan's words touched the hearts of viewers with his very real and relatable experiences. For PSN News, I'm Juliana Tordo.
Last Friday, the Penn State Center Stage virtually debuted School of Theater student Jalen Martin's film titled The Black Boy Who Thought He Had It All. The film depicts his experiences at Penn State as a student of color. Originally written as a play, Martin converted it into a film which took about 20 hours to film. Martin's motive for making the film was to help others understand his experience with racism at a predominantly white institution and to find solace in people that negatively impacted his time at college. He wants to liberate other students of color and help give them a voice. If you are interested, the film's running time is 52 minutes, 15 seconds, and can be found on Vimeo, available to everyone. Guys, I have a confession. I'm obsessed with musicals, but then again, it just might be a stage. Even though the season was cut short by the coronavirus pandemic, the 74th annual ceremony lives on. The nomination for the 2020 Tony Awards were revealed last Thursday. Tony winner James Monroe Iglehart of Aladdin hosted the announcements. For the first time in Tony Awards history, all of the nominees for Best Musical, Best Book of Musical, and Best Orchestrations were jukebox musicals. Not to mention, this was also the first time in the ceremony's history that no musical had been nominated for a Best Original Score. The Alanis Morissette musical, Jagged Little Pill, had 15 nominations, with at least one nomination in every eligible category. Following close behind was Moulin Rouge with 14 nominations. Jeremy O. Harris's Slave Play received 12 nominations and 11 nominations for Matthew Lopez's The Inheritance, and many more nominees. There is still no official word on when this year's ceremony will take place, so make sure you stay tuned. And maybe in key. That was your entertainment update. Penn State's SPA Spa hosted a live concert event with Noah Cyrus last week. Noah Cyrus performed some of her hit songs like July and Make Me Cry. PSN News field reporter Ava Brett has the story.
Hello, I'm Ava Brett reporting for PSN News. In a normal semester, a celebrity with as much star power as Noah Cyrus could probably fill up the BJC, but because of the coronavirus, Noah Cyrus kicked off homecoming week with a virtual concert on this past Sunday night.
So how do you feel about Penn State promoting virtual concerts experiences now?
I definitely think it's a little weird, but I've missed like the concert experience. So I'm like definitely very open to it, and I like that we're willing to try new things.
Right. And were you a fan of the Noah Cyrus concert? It was a little odd,
Yeah.
actually, but
It's definitely different than what we're used to, but it got the job done and I actually really enjoyed it. Like, we've been going without stuff like this for so long now that like even though it was online, it was still really fun.
what made you choose Noah to do the concert this weekend?
Okay, so basically, I don't like choose who we're like bringing, like
Okay.
myself. Basically, SPA, we have different committees, and I'm like the concert chair, so I'm in charge of the concerts committee. So when we look at who we want to bring for each concert, we usually start by picking a genre, and then have our budget from there, and then our committee basically comes up with a list of artists, and we go further in depth of all these artists. Would they be the right fit for each of these? And obviously this show is in collaboration with Homecoming, so we really took their opinion into account. And then, yeah, so basically we vote on it, have our top artists go through the middle agent to send offers into those artists, and Noah happened to be the one that accepted.
I'm Ava Brett reporting for PSN News.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Angelica Singer with your sports update. Penn State football will be playing under the lights against Ohio State on Halloween. The kickoff time will be 7:30 p.m. for Penn State football's home opener against Ohio State. It is also announced that on Monday, the game will be broadcasted on ABC. There's still no word whether ESPN's College Game Day will make an appearance in Happy Valley, but no fans will be allowed to attend what would have been the annual whiteout game due to the coronavirus pandemic. Penn State has lost its last 3 matchups against Ohio State, with their last win coming in 2016 at Beaver Stadium. Penn State's first game on the season will begin this Saturday against Indiana at 3:30 p.m. Penn State will host 7 future championships across various sports between 2022 and 2026. Following the NCAA's announcement on Wednesday, those championships include men's and women's ice hockey, men's and women's gymnastics, and men's and women's fencing. The NCAA women's hockey semifinal and finals, also known as the Frozen Four, is figured to be the largest event that'll take place within that period. The Frozen Four will take place at Penn State's Pagula Arena. The PPL Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania will host NCAA's men's hockey regionals in 2022, 23, and 25. Rec Hall will be the host of the men's gymnastics finals in 2023 and the women's gymnastics regionals in 2025. And the men's and women's fencing finals will be hosted at Penn State's multi-sport facility in 2025. The Tampa Bay Rays will take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first neutral site World Series. Game 1 of the 116th World Series will begin tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and will take place at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Both teams got their ticket to the World Series by winning their league championship series in the full 7 games. The Dodgers came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Atlanta Braves, while the Rays almost blew a 3-game lead over the Astros, but fought hard to win Game 7 Saturday night. Each World Series game will be broadcasted on Fox. That was your sports update. This week, PSN News interview anchor Zach Gershman will give you an exclusive interview with the founders of Gerpa Jeans, a clothing company created by 2 Penn State students that is currently on the rise. Take a look.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to PSN News. I'm Zach Gershman, and with me today is the marketing director and founder of Gerpa Jeans, Bradley Kraut, Austin Thomas. Guys, welcome to PSN News.
Thanks for having us.
How are you? Appreciate for having us hop on today.
Of course. Austin, let's get started. You're the founder of Gerpa Jeans. Where did the idea come from?
Yeah, so my freshman year, I'd go to Penn State football tailgates and kind of notice some of my friends wearing thermals under their jeans, right? So I've never personally done this, but kind of saw the problem there, right? So how do I come up with a solution to this 2-in-1 type of thing and come out with a product? And then there was a jean jacket, which was lined with Sherpa, which is really popular. Celebrities were wearing it, kind of everyone was wearing it, but the jeans pants with Sherpa were never made. So just from a consumer preference standpoint, consumers were loving kind of that Sherpa look. So on my end, it was just kind of seeing, one, sampling, can this be done? And two, what kind of marketing plan can we do to execute on this? And, you'll hear that's kind of where Brad comes in, and that's kind of where he's helped this grow. So, but the idea came about from freshman year, being at a football school like Penn State, kind of being at those tailgates and seeing that problem.
Yeah. So Brad, you jumped on the team, you jumped on the Gerpa Jeans bandwagon. Why'd you decide to do that? What'd you see in Austin in the brand?
Well, first I saw Austin make an Instagram post. So Austin and I actually went to the same high school. He's 2 grades above. And, I'm a freshman. I kind of wanted to get involved with something here at Penn State. So we made this Instagram post last September. Hey, I'm coming out with a company called Gerpa Jeans. They're going to be jeans lined with Sherpa. Immediately, I was like, wow, this is a sick idea. So I ended up shooting Austin a DM. Hey, I want to be an ambassador. Austin was basically like, you're an ambassador. Like, you're in. I was like, word. Jeans ended up coming in a month later. Went down to his apartment and tried the jeans on. I was really skeptical, honestly, on the way down to his apartment. Jeans with fur in them, I'm not gonna be able to move. They're gonna be stiff, whatever. I put these jeans on, pop a squat. I go, Austin, these have serious potential. These can actually be something one day. And then from there, I kind of just, used the marketing strategy of making building a community around it. And I was just, having, other freshmen, checking out the product, and then the product literally sold itself. They'd buy the product. I'd go down to his apartment, bring them back to East Halls. My whole strategy was, take a video of them, throw them the package, be all excited. They'd be all excited, tag them, put them up on my story, put it up on my Snapchat story. And then more and more kids started to see this, and they wanted to hop on the trend, I guess. And that's how we're here now, basically. Literally just through word of mouth, Instagram stories, and, kind of just wanting people to feel a part of it.
Talk about some of the challenges both of you guys have being students, but also trying to run a brand while being students. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think the main challenge is just time management in terms of, being able to kind of manage your coursework. What a lot of people don't know is my freshman and sophomore year, I was a practice player for the Penn State basketball team, right? So kind of having that 3-hour block of practice, right? But now and when I was doing that, it was kind of going to practice, coming home, doing work, sleep, next day of class, right? So just kind of staying busy. And now, I stopped doing that. So then there's kind of this 3-4 hour block, and now it's turning into much more with how much it's growing, but just kind of staying on top, keeping your head on your shoulders, and staying focused with kind of the task at hand and goal at hand, which is what we have, of growing a company. That kind of keeps us motivated and keeps us focused on, what we're doing. But I think the biggest thing is just obviously your time management skills with how you manage it.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, so I totally agree with Austin, time management. I know Austin, 3.95 GPA, supply chain major, Schreier's guy, whatever. I'll give him that. But yeah, advertising and PR. So it's not as extensive as Austin has, but I basically get up, I'll go to the gym, get some schoolwork done, and then basically have that time slot in the afternoon to talk Gerpa with Austin and kind of game plan for what we're trying to do.
What are some of the stuff that you take from your classes here at Penn State and you bring to the brand?
Yeah, I took a class last semester, and it was all about, networking and making connections with people, and really just building relationships, knowing how to, the biggest thing for me is knowing how to approach someone and, asking, for instance, let's say I'm DMing an influencer or something. It's knowing their background and how I can approach them to where I don't come off as feeling entatled or anything, kind of start that small talk, get a feel for them, and then be like, hey, my buddy has this company called Gerpa Jeans, would love to send you a free pair if you could, do this or that kind of thing. So really just kind of building relationships, knowing people's backgrounds and knowing how to communicate with them.
And Austin, last question here. Brad, you could chime in as well. You could see Brad's wearing the Gerpa lined hoodie. He's got the beanie on. It's expanded. The brand is expanded from just jeans. You've had the beanies, you have the hoodies. You also have face masks promoting, helping out with the pandemic. I noticed that some of the funds went towards the Making Lemonade Foundation. Mm-hmm. There it is, right there, right on cue. So what's next?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, we started out, and now Gerpa Jeans. You think of Calvin Klein, they have Calvin Klein, then Calvin Klein Jeans, right? So different segments of the business. But I think for us to compete and to continue to grow, we have to be a clothing brand overall, right? So one of the initial worries, investors, people would ask us is, hey, what if a big shark, bigger company comes in and does jeans with Sherpa, right? So us being able to expand into providing hoodies, beanies, these different branding products, now people are starting to buy into the brand rather than just the product itself, which if we're able to grow that, segment of the business, I think we can be really successful. But to answer your question as to what's coming next, obviously, don't want to announce every product, but we got some cool things we're working on. We got some cool things we're working on in terms of, we haven't dove in the women's segment, and we got girls joggers cut with Sherpa. We got men's sweatpants with Sherpa. So what'd you say?
You're spilling the beans?
No, not spilling the beans, just saying what we're working on. What's coming out, they'll have to see. But just a few kind of products like that, and then some of the other products that we've already come out with in some different colors and different variations, along with just scaling it, right? We've been selling out in smaller quantities, being able to kind of have larger quantities, sell that out, I think is how we're really going to grow. And but for us, it's our target market's college students. Being able to provide that top quality at the price level, which we do for college students, I think will continue to be successful if all goes well.
So where could they find you guys at? Throw out the Instagram handle, throw out the website. Where can they find you at?
Yeah, our Instagram is at Gerpa Jeans, and then our website's www.gerpajeans.com. So pretty simple. Definitely, come on the Instagram. And if you end up buying anything, Bradley's really kind of pushed me towards it, but people have been tagging us on their stories, showing them, building that kind of community aspect, showing us that, hey, we got our product, or hey, I was on the website at this time trying to get the product. And we've just been throwing everything on our story, kind of trying to show that, one, everyone kind of means the world to us and supporting us, and two, kind of we value.
We're excited. I'm just excited to see where this thing goes. Like, I was never in it for the money or anything. I just truly believed in a product and just was extremely passionate about it.
Brad, Austin, thank you guys so much for joining me on this edition of PSN News. For everybody else, we'll see you guys next time.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good Tuesday evening, State College. I'm student meteorologist Christopher Tate here with your PSN forecast. Let's begin with a look at our weather headlines for the next couple of days. It should be a fairly nice remainder of the week here in Happy Valley. A cold front will brush across the state tomorrow. I don't really foresee any significant impacts from that other than some residual clouds. I'll show you that in just a bit. If anything, temperatures will be warming as we head into the latter half of this week, thanks to a southerly wind that will help to bring in some air from the mid-Atlantic and the southern states. The rest of the 7-day forecast, a little bit more of a mixed bag, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. And if you haven't noticed, sunrise is getting a little bit later here in the valley, and after Thursday, sunrise will be at or after 7:30 a.m. Now, the other big story that's dominating Commonwealth weather over the last several weeks to months is a prolonged drought. Much of central and north central Pennsylvania, are experiencing at worst a severe drought. Other areas stretching from Williamsport down to Harrisburg and along the turnpike to the west experiencing a moderate drought and a little bit of abnormally dry conditions just outside that area. Now, those areas should have some relief from the rain, especially in the north central regions, as we step through future weather. Starting off 9 a.m. on Wednesday, there's that weak cold front brushing across the state. I think north central Pennsylvania does have the best chance to get some light rain accumulation from this system. Here in State College, I think we just have clouds. I think this computer model is doing a very good job at predicting what cloud cover will look like. Clouds generally along and north of Interstate 80, and I think that'll be the trend as we head into the evening hours of Wednesday into very early Thursday morning. We'll start the day off on Thursday under scattered clouds and maybe a little bit of valley fog as well, so do keep an eye out for that. All those clouds will clear up quite nicely by the time we make it into Thursday afternoon, and by Thursday evening we should have a mostly clear sky across the majority of the Commonwealth, maybe some residual clouds lingering down near the Philadelphia metro. As we start the day on Friday, notice we have a southerly flow. That's a clue that we're going to be warming up, and warming up we will, but unfortunately it's not going to last terribly long, as another system will be approaching us from the west late Friday into Saturday morning. This one I think we do get a little bit of precipitation out of, though it should be fairly light and it should be fairly scattered. and I think it will clear out of our area by the end of the day on Saturday. Sunday will be between two systems. I think Sunday itself is a fairly nice day to get outside. Temperatures will be warming back to close to average under a mostly sunny sky. But as you can see, southern and western Pennsylvania pretty well socked in with clouds according to this computer model, and those clouds will overspread the Commonwealth, as will rain. You can see that counterclockwise flow over Lake Huron indicating the presence of a low pressure system here at the surface, and this one will be bringing some scattered showers and plenty of them to the Commonwealth. I think we have a very good opportunity to get some much needed accumulating rain here in State College and across much of the Commonwealth, as this could be a multi-day system for us. Tonight, though, no rain to deal with, and it should be a fairly inactive night weather-wise. A low of 52 degrees under a mostly cloudy sky. Thankfully, calm winds, so no significant wind chill or anything like that to speak of. And then as we head into the day tomorrow, 74 degrees thanks to a southerly wind. We'll have plenty of sun and plenty of warmth with temperatures some 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year. We'll be even warmer on Thursday with a high of 75 degrees and a low in the mid-50s, not terribly far off our average high for this time of year. But then once that front brushes through Friday into Saturday, temperatures get knocked back down to around averages this time of year, which for State College is about the low 60s over about the low to mid 40s for overnight lows. Monday into Tuesday, like I said, our best chance of precipitation, and some of that precip may linger into Wednesday if we have any residual effects from that storm system that we'll be brushing by. From the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm student meteorologist Christopher Tate. Have a great night.
This Thursday, President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden will face off for another presidential debate. The Commission on Presidential Debates released new rules for the upcoming debate, including that each candidate will have 2 minutes of uninterrupted time to speak at the beginning of every 15-minute segment. The Commission will mute the opposing candidate's mic when those 2 minutes are taking place. The topics for the upcoming debate will include race, national security, leadership, America's families, COVID-19, and climate change.
Many are still mourning the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg as demonstrators gathered in Washington, D.C. on Saturday for the second Women's March of the year. This event was organized in honor of the late Supreme Court Justice. The rally began in the afternoon and was followed by a march to the Capitol. It finished at the National Mall with a, quote, socially distant text banking telethon with a goal of sending 5 million messages encouraging people to vote. LaToya White, a protester at the march, said, quote, with the climate of everything with Black Lives Matter with the Supreme Court justices, I felt inspired to make my voice heard, end quote.
California will be getting some help from the White House as the state is still recovering from the damages caused by wildfires. Governor Gavin Newsom announced on Friday that the White House has approved of California's request for federal disaster relief. The statewide wildfires have burned through nearly 3,000 square miles, destroyed nearly 1,000 homes, and killed 3 people. The governor spoke with the president by phone, and aid was approved after being denied by the Federal Emergency Management Agency last month.
Mackay, a 20-year-old lemur, is now back at the San Francisco Zoo after being stolen earlier this week. The lemur was found at a nearby church playground about 4 miles away from the zoo. He went missing on Wednesday morning after a reported burglary on Friday. Local police arrested Corey McGilloway for being a suspect in the theft of the animal. Police were able to track down the 30-year-old man by finding pictures of Mackay on his phone. McGilloway will be facing charges for burglary, grand theft of an animal, looting, and vandalism.
And that's all for tonight on PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.